at least craft some of the email.
Sorry, I accidentally pressed like.
So that's all good. We are live. It's good.
Before I meant to.
I've been doing that all day.
I know, right? I do that. Yeah, it's usually more embarrassing than that. But let me turn this so I don't look at it every 5 seconds. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Untethered Talk. Robin Thomas at 2:00. This time we're actually at 2.
Right? It's been a minute since we were at 2.
I know, it's been like a minute that we've been at 2, and I mean, I think we did Friday last week. I don't know.
We did Friday last week, but I think it was earlier.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was. Okay, well, Robin, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really fantastic today.
That is really awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Is one of the reasons that you're really great at the healing that we did last night?
I think that certainly had an impact on it for sure. Yeah. We did this amazing healing, and it was so humbling, first of all, to be such a part of that big energy. And it was so powerful that I just feel like it cleared out so much that I've just been in this like really good space.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
it was
awesome.
good.
So let's tell people, so the subject of the day, I feel like we should mark a little like letter H out.
Right?
H for healing.
The Untethered Talk is brought to you today by the letter H.
The letter H.
And the number 7.
Number 7's good. That's a good number.
It's my favorite number.
So let's talk about healing. First, let's define what healing means. Because I mean, people are like, "Oh yeah, healing," but then they're like, "Wait a second, what?"
Well, so I think there's a couple of different definitions for that. But when I think of healing, I think of raising our vibrations. To me, that's really what healing means. I think a lot of times things get stuck, or we get out of balance, or there's like a dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we're working, and that's all just because the energy, our vibrations are stuck. It's a pattern that's like no longer serving, and it gets really sticky. And so when I talk about healing, I'm talking about changing the pattern, raising the vibration, changing the energy. Whether or not the symptoms of that thing get better or worse, you're changing the energy and still elevating your vibration. And that's how I really think of healing.
Let's discuss with people then really, really briefly. Like, I know what you mean by vibration, but some people are like, my vibration?
Wait, so we're all we've talked about this before, but we're all just energy. Yes. All just, matter is all just vibrational states of energy. I mean, that's just physics. Like physics tells you that all molecules are made up of atoms, and an atom is a nucleus and all the surrounding electrons. So that the rate at which the electrons sort of orbit, it sort of determines the density of the object in question. And as humans, we're no different. We have an energy, we have an energy body, we have an energy system, and we're on the planet to increase that frequency and vibration. So if you think about like the God, the universe, the big all, that's the highest vibration there is.
Right.
And right? That's
You're right.
That's it.
Like one would think.
Right?
One would hope.
And our souls are always sort of just seeking that level of vibration. And in the soul plane, it's super easy to do. There's no you can do it in soul plane because there's no distance, there's no separation, it's all one. But down here in the human world, there's all kinds of shit that gets in the way. Life, trauma, programming, experiences, all of that shit lowers your vibration.
Right.
It does that on purpose so that we can learn and we can grow and we can become and we can expand above it. That's why we have soul contracts. That's why we have trauma. That's why we have stuff that happens. It doesn't happen to us. It happens for us so expressly so that we can grow.
Yeah.
And learn and experience and change.
So there are a couple of different kinds of healing, right? There's like the personal healing, and then there's like we did last night, like a healing.
Right.
What would you tell people about that?
So the personal healing, like I said, is that excavate. Sometimes it's excavation, sometimes it's raising your vibration, sometimes it's getting energy out, sometimes it's like letting go of things that aren't yours, being like, nope, this is not mine, like cutting cords. All of that is healing. What we did last night was a healing, and it was specifically for a set of vibrations. So that healing was a reset of our adrenal system. It's actually a reset of our physical system, but our adrenal system is responsible for fight or flight. It's responsible for our nervous system. It's responsible for a lot of our energetic patterns.
I
Because
am sorry, as a person, I have had what they call what is it? Uh
adrenal
startle
fatigue.
the startle reaction, only in
Oh,
my
yeah,
like
yeah.
heightened
Yes.
startle reaction. And like I noticed this morning, like I mean it's not anything can just if it's sudden, I'm like
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? Like and I got a couple of sudden noises where I was like expecting to be startled, like that startle feeling to come in and it didn't. I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Because the healing that you did took you out of that constant. So what happens is, our adrenal system, our adrenal system is made up of the adrenal glands, the whatever your gonads are, your pancreas, the thymus gland, which is all these hormones, the thyroid gland. Again, we're talking about master glands that are responsible for all of the hormones in your body, and also the pineal gland, the pituitary, and the hypothalamus. So it's literally all of the hormones and systems in your body that keep you in homeostasis. And so we experience trauma, we experience whatever, and those things, there's like connections that get made. They automatically, it's like did you ever play with Connects as a kid? Like they
Yeah,
snap together,
I love those. Yeah.
right? Right? And
Yeah.
and so you get those pathways that like they're snapped together. Now
Mhm.
they're sort of hardened in there.
Right.
And that keeps us in that sort of fight or flight place. And that healing that we just did snaps the connections. So it's like breaking a glow stick. You like that's sort of how
That
I feel it.
perfect.
Yes. And when you break that glow stick, it glows differently, right? So we broke all the connections, and then that healing, I bring down the seventh chakra, bring the divine light down through the seventh chakra and go back through the system, making each place its own its own thing. So like if it can't be handled at the adrenal glands, it gets kicked to the gonads. If the ovaries can't handle it, then it doesn't have to automatically have those hardwired things in there. It's back now to the factory settings. It's a factory reset of what you were meant to have before trauma happened.
I love it. So how does one do that for people who have never,
Well, so I trained for years. So
right?
I
Well,
mean, this is
yes,
what
obviously. It's not something it's not like a girls' slumber party thing.
yeah, no. I do think that as a healer, I'm never, how do I say this? It's not that I'm doing a healing on you, even though that's what we maybe say.
Mhm.
As a healer, my job is to hold my channel wide, my energy open, my chakras expanded, my I have to be grounded. I have to hold my own life purpose line out and big and strong, and my energy field needs to be whole and clean. The more you can do that as a healer, the clearer your channel is, the more the energy can flow through you.
Mm.
I act as the lightning rod. I act as the transmitter for the energy that's flowing in the universe. And then I hold that vibration really high. And as a Healy, as a client, you're energetic. You get that. I'm giving you a mirror. I'm giving you something to resonate with. It's like a tuning fork. I act as the tuning
Mm.
fork, and your energy vibrates with it. And that's how a healing really actually works.
Huh.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is why it's so important as a healer to be doing my own work, because the clearer I can keep my channel, the more vibration I have to offer you.
that's so one of the things you talk about is holding a safe space.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, as humans, we've experienced all kinds of trauma in our lifetimes, right? And then so then we understand really quickly that the universe or the world isn't really safe. And then there's a shit ton of evidence out there to prove you right.
Yeah.
The world isn't right.
Lots of it, most of
Most of it.
it.
So if you've never then experienced or haven't in a long time experienced safety, then you don't know how to get there again. Right. So my job as a healer is to give a vibration for you to hold on to. So when I hold a safe space, my energy is safe. Like I'm like solidly present and like just safe. That's kind of what one of my primary energies in the world is safety. When I expand and I hold my vibration big and wide and loud, there's a safety in that you can come in and have a haven from the external world. And when you come in, when I open my energy like that and I say, this is a safe space, you can relax, your body can relax, your subconscious can relax, your energy can relax, so that the healing can actually take place.
I remember, I mean, we did that one, like one-on-one healing, that one time that was pretty intense. And I remember like the reason I was able, like, yeah, I mean, exactly what you just said, right? The reason I was able to let go and it's just, I thought it was like, okay, like I trust her.
Which is, there's some of that in there. That's a trust factor. That's definitely true. And sometimes you just know, you resonate with people, they feel safe or they don't, right? You just kind of know that. And as a healer, my job is to create a safe, like that's my soul. If I did nothing else but hold a safe space for people, I'm being a tremendous healer.
Yeah. Because I mean, it was a palpable difference for me. It's like, I noticed not feeling unsafe.
Yes.
Like,
yes, exactly.
What is this feeling?
What is this feeling so sudden and new?
Yeah, right. It was like, whoa, I'm not unsafe. What does that mean?
Right. Exactly. Because I think that's, and so many of us, especially those of us who've experienced trauma, especially early trauma when there's first chakra wounding, which most of us have.
Right.
Creating safety is that's like this sort of one of the things that why the world is in such a topsy-turvy state is that most people don't have that safe space. Most people don't have that secure, like all of our first chakras are unplugged. We're sort of untethered. We're sort of this like live wire in the world.
Yeah, I see that.
There's just no safe, there's just no safe space.
Well, I mean, that's, you know, a obvious explanation for why people are so scared. And then that fear turns into hatred, and then the hatred,
exactly,
blah, blah, blah.
Tribalism and us versus them, and exactly, yeah.
Oh, what was that? Whoa, I had a thought. All right, we're talking about safe space. Oh, yeah. So when that healing was done, I kind of like opened my eyes, and you were like getting rid of the bad energy. Now you live in Marlborough?
Yes.
And I live in Boston. And we were doing this over Zoom.
with 10 other people.
Yes.
So energy is what is working at a quantum level. At the quantum level, there's no space, there's no time, there's no distance, there's nothing. It's quantum, it's energy. It's like it doesn't matter if it's here or the end of the universe. It's still the quantum level. It's all the same energy. It's all the same space.
That's so cool to think about, like whether it's here or like in that distant flame that we can actually kind of see, where that's the way the Big Bang happened 13 billion years ago.
It's the same vibration. It's the same energy. It's a quantum field.
So quantum fields. That's just.
And that's science. That's not like superstitious magic. That's scientific science.
It's definitely scientific science. No, but I've just been like, I've been talking about learning more about physics, particle or quantum physics for a while. I need to do it, but I am going to do it. I just don't have the time right now. But yeah, that just blew my mind. Like thinking about, I've heard people say, oh yeah, undifferentiated quantum field, blah, blah, blah. And then I just, you stop and you think about it and you're like, that's what the Big Bang was made out of.
Absolutely.
That's God.
Yes.
Scratching your head like this is a big concept.
There's a really cool guy I follow on Instagram. His name is Robert Edward Grant, and he's profound. He's so brilliant, and I listen to him, and sometimes I have to like listen to it a couple of times because it even is beyond my understanding to like just take it all in. But he has some really cool concepts around physics, the physics of the universe, and how it's all mathematics, and he's a really interesting, if you want to start studying sort of physics and math and you know, quantum stuff, he would be a good entry point.
Okay, all right.
Robert Edward Grant.
Edward Grant. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, so it doesn't so much matter. And people are always sort of blown away by that, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to be in the same room with you. And I'm like, no. I mean, there's something beautiful and amazing in that sacred touch. So I don't want to discount that
No.
in-person healings are
No.
are magical. They really are, because we do need that sacred touch. We really do need that, like, again, safe touch, right? And when we're doing something like a global healing like we did last night, or like a group healing, and I know it wasn't me. All I had to do was hold the channel, and I saw what you saw me doing was your guides, all of you guides, spirit, angels, teachers, healers, were taking all this gunk out of all of you. They were just sort of raking all of this black shit. It was just, they were just,
I don't know how else to describe it.
it was just like gunk. It was just like all this shit that's like piled up from living in the world, right? So they were taking it out of all of you sort of collectively, and I was just sending it out to the light to be transmuted, and that's really what happened. And then as I watched or felt or saw or experienced, I'm still holding it. I'm still like in this like space, right? And then I watched them do it for, like, as they did it for each of you, your vibration raised so much that it had this like ripple effect, like chaos theory that rippled out, and they took it out of the world. In fact, I specifically pulled this for, so as they pulled it out of the world, this is what I got to see.
I love that card.
Same. This is how I see the world anyway. This is how I see people. Like, all these little dots are how I see, this is how I see the world.
Yeah,
right?
we're all interconnected. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but I got to see they raked all the gunk out of the world, and we like literally raised the vibration of the planet.
That's cool.
It was super cool. It was super cool.
So let's dig into that then.
Okay. All right.
What's up with that?
So again, if everything's vibration and everything is just frequencies, as we raise our vibrations, that ripples out. It's part of, if there's no space, there's no time, there's no distance. So part of the collective whole is our jobs right now. The planet is on a pretty low vibration. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think anybody would argue that we're not at a pretty low vibration, even though there's really pockets of and glimmers of hope, glimmers of light, glimmers of like, we're getting there, right?
Yeah, it's on its way, but
it is.
If we get there before we destroy ourselves.
That's why we need everybody to do their work. That's why we need everybody to be healing and clearing and channeling the vibrations highest possible, because we're on the brink, right? And we're like,
right, it's gonna go one way or the other.
We don't really know, because free will. Yeah, so it's like that was, I got to see last night, and that was my guide showing me. That's what drives me to do the work I do anyway, is that once we clear our shit out, that is what we're going to live with. That is the planet we're going to be on. And so it was just them showing me again. That was sort of confirmation for me, but holding that space for the 10 people online, and then the 10 or so other people who got the replay. So that was like, I'm holding space for 20 people to be doing work all at the same time. That was a tremendous amount of energy that came through so we cleared out a fuckload of energy that like just there was a huge burst.
So I think next week we have to talk about spirit guides and stuff like that.
Sure.
That's I think
Okay.
it's a big one too. Just take a note.
Okay.
All right. One of the things that I found when I sort of as I was kind of coming down this way with the healing, not my brain thing, I thought was really interesting. Like it's just, I mean, it's something you kind of know intrinsically, but at the same time, like, okay, yeah, I know. I mean, I've known all is one for a very long time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spiritual stuff that
Yeah.
I already knew, but thinking about how you present in the world does affect the vibration
Mhm.
of the planet because you're part of it.
Right. And one step further, what you expect in the world is what you get back.
That's so hard because now everybody's expecting shit.
Right.
Like, and there's another hurricane.
Exactly. It's because that's so again we get back to that to quantum physics, and this is something like I studied quantum physics when I was getting my master's degree. I didn't study it, but I learned a little bit about quantum physics so that because my master's thesis was based on this energy theory, so I had to understand it from a science perspective because my professor was like, you can do this thing about energy. I mean, I was getting a master's degree in counseling. So like, he was like, right. And this is 20 years ago, right? But so he's like, it
yeah,
needs to be
right.
couched in science. So I had to sort of understand quantum physics because that's right. Because that's what energy is. There's a known thing in science called the observer bias, right? Matter, energy is either a wave or a particle. Particle is just one moment in time. It blips into existence. The wave is constantly in motion, and then it becomes a particle, it blips in, and then it becomes a wave again. Depending on what you expect to see, that's what that wave or particle will measure as. It's a known quantity, it's a known effect in science that they have to sort of account for called observer bias.
Right, that's crazy. Not crazy, but I mean,
It's crazy. It's mind-blowing. It's really
yeah.
out there concept, right?
Yeah.
But like when you expect to see a wave, that's what it is. That's what it measures as. But when you expect to see a particle or the act of measuring it changes it from a wave to a particle.
The act of measuring it.
The act of measuring it.
Well, you have to measure it. It has to be a moment in time, right?
Exactly, right? So that's why when if we expect to see something or we send a vibration out there, the universe is just going to match that vibration. It's the observer bias in it. It's so the teeny tiny microscopic quantum particle level or the macrocosmic universal level. It's the same, again, it's the same vibration. So what is going out there in terms of observer bias is coming back to us. Sometimes it gets magnified because of all the other people that are putting that same vibration out there.
So it's not, I mean, people are like caught up in the idea of the law of attraction and secret and like, hey, if I think it, it's going to happen magically. But I mean, I guess, you listen, to be fair, The Secret, it does tell you have to take action. You do have to take action. But so I think that's kind of like where it's based, right?
It is based there. And I think that I also think that that's why sometimes people can manifest brilliantly. Some people are just like aces at it. They don't have a question. And some people can't. I think it's because of their either conscious or unconscious biases, expectations, patterns, experiences, energy. It's their own internal compass. Mary Morrissey calls it your internal thermostat, right? When you set your thermostat in your house, you set it for, let's say, 68 degrees. It's not necessarily going to go higher than that because it's set that the temperature is always regulated at that 68 degree mark. So we all have an internal thermostat that
That makes
That's
sense. And
right.
we always correct to that level.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that's true with manifesting too. And again, you're not being punished, you're not doing it wrong. It's just your energetic vibration or frequency.
You know, it's funny. There have been times, lucid dreaming, everybody, every once in a
Yeah.
while, you're like, oh my God, I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
Anytime that happens to me, like, I'm like, oh, I can fly. I get like a foot off the ground. I'm like, but this might not be a dream. I'm like
And then
flying.
as
They're
soon
like,
as
wait, it
that
might not be a dream.
happens,
I gotta get down because I'll fall if it turns out this isn't a dream. Like, but I'm flying. Like, what? What?
right, 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 exactly.
Like,
That is the
right.
exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so bizarre. Because I'm not, yeah, I'm just, it doesn't matter what kind of proof you give me. The complete bending of the laws of physics, I'm still not gonna believe it.
Right, because you're hardwired to expect a certain behavior.
Right.
Right.
So interesting.
Right. And that's kind of what we did last night is unhook those expectations. That was what that healing was last night.
Maybe I'll have a lucid dream tonight. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool. And I'll be like, no, it is a dream. Roger told me it's a dream.
If you listen to Dom and Miguel Ruiz, the whole of the planet is a dream.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, if everything's happening according to the way that we kind of think it's going to happen or expect it.
Right.
So really the only thing we can do to help save the world is to make sure, well, not only thing, but like the basis thing we can do at our own level is to raise our own vibrations and keep them up there.
Yep. One of my favorite writer, teacher, authors is Marianne Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
She, of course, she's brilliant. She's amazing. And there's a brilliantly famous quote. She said, "The revolution that will save the world is ultimately a personal one."
Right. Like it's not going to be, yeah. We've trusted the powers that be too much. We've trusted groups like that are doing something too much. Like it's our responsibility.
Right. And that's both empowering. It's like that. If the only thing you have control over is you, and that's the only thing you have control over, then it's empowering to think you can actually really make a difference. If you feel powerless to change, I mean,
so
can we change what Putin's doing in Russia? I don't know if enough of us believed, right? But like,
yeah,
can I heal in me the parts of me that I detest in him? 100%, which means I'm taking it out of the world, which means I'm putting less energy and attention into those parts.
So important. This work is so important.
Oh yeah.
So that's another interesting concept too that you were talking just said. I mean, it goes on with what we're talking about, but if you look at the things that about someone else that you don't like in you, and you get rid of those things in you, you're taking it out of the world.
Exactly. And now you've taken the vibration out of it. You've taken the intensity of that vibration out. So it's no longer going to be like it's like when you bang a bell or something, there's a reverberation that happens. It goes on for a long time. If you drop a pebble into a pond, it ripples out, and as it goes farther out, the circles get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So if you raise your vibrations, that has real ripple effects. And if you're focused on those negative, awful, terrible, bad things that either you hate in yourself or that you hate in someone else, you're creating those really big ripples out.
Yeah, they're strong frequencies. It's not weak shit.
Right, exactly. And there's so many people who feel it. Now it gets amplified and amplified and amplified.
Snowballs.
Exactly. That's a concept of fractal theory. That's a concept of chaos. Like a butterfly flaps its wings in Tokyo and a tsunami happens in Philippines, right? It's like
right. Like there's so much here.
I know there's a lot. It's a lot. But getting back to healing,
healings, So healing ourselves, like kind of playing what we were just saying, let's plug that into healings.
Mhm.
Healing ourselves, we heal the world.
Absolutely. It's kind of the only way we heal the world.
Yeah. So healings.
Healings. I mean, there are as many different modalities of healing as there are healers, to be honest with you. And I think they all do different things. Um, and I don't think that there's any one method. Like there's Reiki, there's matrix energetics, there's craniosacral work, there's full spectrum healing, there's whatever. I don't care what technique your healer uses. It's about the job of a healer is to hold a vibration. That's true. That's just so whatever else happens, they've given you a safe space to resonate or change your own frequency.
Yeah, in whatever way they do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did I stump you?
No, we're going. It's happening. It's happening. So there are different modalities, as you said. And some of them are Reiki, and people have heard of Reiki, which is, I mean, it's just energy manipulation, right?
Yes, I mean, Reiki is a very specific frequency of energy. It's a very specific. Reiki is the closest thing I've come to the God source. Like Reiki is incredibly intelligent. It comes through your seventh chakra and out your heart chakra. Like, I mean, really, truly, that is it. That is as close as I've ever come. Reiki is the foundation of every other healing I've ever done because it is so gentle and so loving and so present and so beautiful, but it's a very specific frequency. There are other healings, other modalities, other frequencies that are different. They're just different frequencies. And I actually have discovered that each healing, each modality, because I've studied a lot of them. I have an alphabet of letters after my name.
Yeah.
They all have they all have a different signature, and they all have a different healer, guide, master, spirit, teacher that like guides it, which
Okay.
is cool. I know we're getting very esoteric.
No, I'm digging it. It's just like, let's dig it. Like okay.
So just like you resonate with different people in the world, you have some people like you're like, oh my God, I feel like I've known you my whole life. And some people are like, never again, it's too soon. Right. And so energy, again, we're all vibrations. Healers also have that same different frequency. And each like there are spirit guides, they were once humans, but they're no longer human, and they haven't been human for many, many, many years. So if we use a school analogy, let's say, okay, in elementary school, you're brand new, you're just learning how to sort of be human. Those are like really newer souls. As you graduate from high school, let's say, and you get into college, you have a little bit more understanding of how the world works. Is a little bit that's maybe people who have done some spiritual work, but are still like still middle soul. They're still having to come back, and it's still a very personal journey for still like a whole lot of stuff. Then you get into grad school, and that's when you guys get up into like advanced or older souls. We're still in school. We're still in earth school. We're still doing consciousness work, but maybe we're now healers and teachers and sort of thought leaders. We maybe have a little bit more understanding, so we can teach it to undergrad students and whatever, but we're not at the master level yet. You're not tenured professors, right? So ascended masters and guides and teachers are tenured professors. Like they graduated from earth school and which is the school of hard knocks.
I love that. Earth school.
Right.
But there's a story in there somewhere.
Absolutely. And so remind me to talk to you about the education of Oversoul 7. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and it literally sits right here within my hand's reach at all times. So ascended masters and guides have graduated from Earth School, but still feel really strongly that they want to support those of us who are still here. So you may have guides that come in and out. You may have guides that last with you for your whole life. They were human, but they haven't been human in thousands of lifetimes. They're really way ascended to their vibration is that much higher. So they're teaching and guiding and showing us how to grow, how to become.
So that would make there be like a limited amount of spirit guides.
Not necessarily, because there's an infinite source. There's an infinite amount. There's been an infinite amount
Dear
of
God.
there's been an infinite amount of lifetimes. There's been an infinite amount of numbers of people. There's like we've never, right? And it's not necessarily just limited to humans, other creatures and beings from other planets and existences. So there's infinite numbers of
Right.
possibilities.
Other planets and existences. We haven't even touched on that yet.
Right, exactly. But so even if you think about just Earth School, there's a tons of beings that have been on Earth School throughout the many billion year history of the Earth.
Okay.
Right? You don't even
Mhm.
have to go to another planet to get infinite numbers of beings that have been on this planet.
All right. Okay. Yeah. That we'll save a lot
Oh, yeah. So
next week.
so those are ascended masters and guides and teachers and healers, spirit healers. They've been a healer their whole life, all their lives, all their many lives, all their many existences, and they teach sometimes specific. Sometimes I think of guides as like a football team, right? You have your offensive line and you have your defensive line, and then you have the secondary bench, and then you have the hands team and the kicking team and the people who come in just for one play, right? That's how guides kind of work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And teachers and masters are like the head coach and the defensive coach and the offensive coach and the you know
So bringing it back to healing.
yes, bring it back to healing.
Bringing it back to healing. So we'll talk about like what the spirit guides and all that stuff is next week, but let's remember to do that.
Okay.
But, in terms of healing, when these spirit guides or angels or whatever it is come to you, what do they do?
It depends on so when they come to me, they will either tell me or show me or get me out of the way and do it for me, which is often the case.
Right?
You just sit there and look pretty. You talk to Jen and we'll do the healing.
We'll do the things. You're distracted over here.
Exactly.
We'll do our thing.
So they show me things. They show me visions, or they give me a word, or they tell me what to say, or I'll ask, can I say this thing that I'm sensing? And they're like, no, don't say it yet. Wait, right? So I have a relationship with my guides that like, and so they teach me, they show me, they guide me, they move. Sometimes they move my hands for me. It's again, my job is to hold the space so they can come in. And so when I connect with the client, when I connect with their energy, I call in your guides to guide me, show me, teach me, and I call in my guides, guide me, show me, teach me, protect me. So I have a cadre of people, guides, angel spirits, whatever, with me. Sometimes I'll get sometimes like really powerful beings come through. Sometimes like Jesus comes through, or Buddha, or some like big archangels. Sometimes Michael comes through. It's rare, but sometimes they do, because it's an intent. So I'm just holding the space for the energy to move through. I trust that whatever energy is coming through is for your highest good. In fact, I set that intention when I start a healing. And that's like I would say really any good healer knows they're not really doing anything.
Right.
Right.
It's like being an artist. Like
right. It comes through you.
It comes through me.
Right. And I would be very
that's about it.
exactly. And so I would be very careful. I would be very hesitant if someone is like, I'm doing this healing. It's powerful and amazing. there you have to be very careful that it's not coming from like a real ego place.
Right.
Although we all have it. We all have hubris
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
right.
I
But
mean,
so
sorry.
yeah,
Well, with art and creativity and the muses, it's like it's not you, but it is you are the vessel.
exactly.
And so that's why it's all different. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you're going to paint a seashell totally different than I'm going to paint a seashell because it's going to come through me and through my filters,
Right.
right? So it's the same thing with healing. You
Okay.
could go to two different healers for the same thing. They're going to do it completely differently. You could go to two different Reiki masters. We could have been trained by the same Reiki instructor with the same lineage, and we're still going to do things totally differently.
Because it's the person, it's the
Because
vessel.
it's the person's filter.
Yeah.
And you're going to come to me for this thing, and you're going to go to them for that thing, and it's totally a different energy.
I'm gonna come to you for most things.
Naturally. Until you outgrow me, until you like it's when the student's ready, the teacher shows up, and then when you move on, and you find another teacher or another healer, another right, like I'm the way station. I'm never the destination.
Well, everything's never the
That's
destination.
all right, yeah.
What's the destination? That's like not even death is the destination.
Right, exactly. That's just the next leg of the journey.
Yeah, yeah.
You just don't have to do it in a meat suit.
Meat suit, such a gross thing.
I know. Oh, costume. Patty calls it a costume. It's a little bit more
I
palatable.
like that costume. I
Okay.
like that costume. Animated droid.
Puppet? Can we
Puppet?
be puppets?
Puppet?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Marionette?
Marionette. No, that's like
Uh,
like you don't
yeah.
wanna be doing that throughout life. Yeah, so okay. All right, we got off track there.
Well, that's all right. We never do
Yeah,
that.
it's enjoyable. Everybody loves us, right?
Exactly.
Our bevy of
Our banter.
banter. Okay. So what else can we talk about? Like as far as
So in terms of healing, like I said, we can talk, there's so many millions of things that we can talk about in terms of healing. And there's a billion different modalities. Like there's almost as many modalities as there are people.
because even if you're doing, like you said, the Reiki master thing, it's just like it's slightly different or big different. Okay.
Yeah. Our job as healers, I'm including you in this now, is to make sure we have clean energy and that we don't get stuck in other people's energies. Our job is to have, right? Most healers go through boundary school pretty intensely. Welcome. Here's we've saved a seed for you.
Here's your card.
Exactly. Now you're in boundary school.
Boundary school, yeah.
Which is almost as fun as Earth School.
Almost. I don't know. I all I know is I'm just learning a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so then you learn and you share it, right? That's how it works. The healing happens. The healers go first, and then they teach the everybody else to do it.
Right. Because they've been through it.
Right.
And they know how to speak to the person, and the
Absolutely.
people who are attracted to them are going to be the people who
have that same issue.
Yes.
Oh yeah, your clients will always show up with your issues.
Well, that's the one you can heal.
Exactly, because they're coming to you, and your guides have already mastered that thing that you're struggling with. So they're teaching you and guiding you and showing you not how to get through it, but they're helping you be in the process of it.
This doesn't really have to do with healings, but one of the things I think I just thought of is like I just said, like I'm learning, and I am learning, obviously, but I think that a lot of it has to do with knowing.
Yes.
Rather than learning. Like
Well,
experiencing. I mean, yes, I mean, learning, yes, but there's a level, you can learn something and then you can know something or
true.
experience something.
Yes. And I think that there's that most of the time we're going to learn it by experiencing it,
Right. Well,
right? I
right.
mean,
I was
I mean,
thinking learning, I was like, excuse me, I've got to learn.
well, yeah. That's so you can study, and like I said, you can like a healer will get a training and a certification. We use Reiki in
Right.
this example. A healer gets an attunement to Reiki. That's what happens. The master teacher opens their channel specifically to Reiki, and then they can turn it on and turn it off whenever they want to. They're attuned to that frequency. They have the physical experience of the education and the learning of what Reiki is and how to do it. Then the experience of what it feels like to hold someone's energy and feel their chakras and know how their energy's flowing. That's a totally different experience, and you can teach it, but people aren't going to understand it until they feel it.
Right.
And I think that's true in life as well. You can learn something in a book, like you can learn about contracts,
Hmm.
but until you get your heart shattered, you're not going to understand
Yeah,
contracts.
exactly right. Yeah, like everyone walking around the pond and like, oh, get it now.
Yes.
A lot more sense.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think you're right. There's the learning and then there's the understanding. And I think that's true for healers and people on a spiritual journey, even if they're not healing, even if they're not wanting to do anything other than heal themselves.
So, in terms of healing, what's up with contracts?
Well, contracts are agreements that your soul makes with another to help you learn, grow, become, understand. Sometimes that means you contracted with a healer to be able to help you understand some part of yourself. That's usually, I mean, we have a contract, you and I, right? And so,
Clearly.
but I think that the concept of someone outside of you can do something to you is still that we still ascribe to that. We go to the doctor, they give us a pill, they make us better, right? We still sort of have, a lot of us have that sort of same feeling around healers. I'm going to go to the healer, she's going to do this thing and she's going to make me better.
Mhm.
And it's not really, that's still putting the onus of the healing outside of you. So my experience with healers and contracts is that it's probably the healer, maybe the healer has a contract with you, but more than likely the healer is going to be the one to help you integrate the thing from the contract of whichever person you had the contract with, because you can't solve the problem at the level it was created. So you need someone who has maybe a bigger bird's eye view or a different
Yeah.
ability to perspective to show you, hey, this is maybe a blind spot for you, something you want to maybe look at. So healers are guides and teachers and again, space holders for you to do the work to integrate. That's how I feel about it.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I look back and like you were telling me stuff and I'm like, oh no, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're so right, totally. And then like what happened, I'm like, oh. I get it. Robin was right. Like with tarot card reading, it tells me exactly what you've been telling me for months. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get
Well, okay, so maybe you hear
it.
from somebody other than me.
um,
And I also think that healers can't heal, like if there's too much intimacy, a healer doesn't have perspective. So
right.
then you have to be like, I have to be very careful to keep like boundaries with my clients. I mean, I consider them all friends and I love them all. Like I'm in love with all of my clients and friends and students, but like I also have a boundary that I'm like, you know,
Right, yeah, because yeah,
once
makes sense.
once you're no longer my client or student, now we can go out and play and party and I can share with you, but I'm not necessarily sharing all my shit with you,
Oh yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's then it's not a safe space anymore.
So that's you've seen me try to get past that, right?
No, I've never seen that evidence
Robin, so are
whatsoever.
you seeing anyone? What's going on? Will you be the official of my wedding?
And I am of the sort of belief that sometimes you need to have a personal my personal stories help you get to a point in understanding, right?
Yes.
So sometimes I'll use personal stories as a therapeutic way of sharing to help you say, hey, I did this. This was how I did it. You can do this or this, right? So I also see my job as a healer is to have, again, judicious use of my personal story, which is why I do give you, I'll throw your bone sometimes to be like, nope, I'm not dating anybody, and this is why.
Excellent. Okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you for letting me in.
Because they're intimacy, into me. I see you can't have a relationship, you can't have a therapeutic relationship if there isn't a give and a take. If it's completely one-sided, it's not intimacy.
No, it really isn't. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about like relationships with therapists in the past. It's like, I'm here and I'm just going to talk about me.
Right.
I'm here about you. It's my job. Your job is to listen to me about me. Let's go.
Exactly. And that's incredibly valuable and absolutely necessary.
Yes. Right? Yeah. I think it's important to have a place where you can go where you're like, honestly, I don't have to worry about pleasing you, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to worry. You're just here to sit and listen to me, no matter what I do, what I say. That's your job, and I can trust that. I think that's a great thing to have as far as
absolutely.
Like, yeah, that's an important thing to have. So I was just thinking, speaking of healing, wait a second. This is okay. We're the last like 5 minutes, but
okay.
I have informed people, like, because there are billions of people who follow me. I have informed people that I'm getting married.
Nice.
To myself.
Yeah, right, I know.
Next month, I know you know. I mean, you're one of the 2 people there. But like, it's becoming a big deal, and I think it's going to be a huge milestone in my healing, because my big thing has always been, I don't love myself.
Right.
So in order to heal that, like, I have to contract with someone like myself to love me. and
okay.
Think about it. Like
yeah.
It's the commitment. It's the like, every day I'm gonna choose to love you every day.
Well, and so it's a commitment to having a relationship with yourself, right? I mean,
yes.
So marriage is it is a commitment, and a relationship in any kind is the commitment to show up when it's hard, when it's messy, when it's painful, when you don't want to, when you want to run away and hide, when you would rather be mean, to show up with yourself anyway.
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself, and be raw with yourself, and be real with yourself. And so I think that's why I think it's such a really cool idea that you're doing this marriage thing, because you're committing to, come hell or high water, I'm going to have a relationship with me.
Yeah. That's and also on top of that, there's the aspect of like, you marry someone you're in love with. You know what I mean? So like,
well,
okay.
In an ideal world.
In an ideal Western world, yes.
Yeah, I feel like, marriages. I have some real issues with marriage. Anyway, like, I really am not a big proponent of it or fan, but I think I know it works for people and blah blah blah. But
for me, anyway. It's just gonna be. It's like, it's commitment. Like, I don't know about marriage outside of me, but to me, I know. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Yeah, I'm ready to take me to the next level. I'm really like, I think I found the one.
This person is always going to be there no matter what. They're in my life. This person is the only person who will definitely be there.
Right, 100% of the time.
Yeah, 100% of the time. So yeah, I think that like, making that commitment, because I'll be writing my own vows.
Yes.
I'll be writing my own vows. And so I
And
vowed.
I do think there's something really magical about, I said this to you the other day, of really what are you committing to for yourself? Like making a list of all the things that you love about yourself and
That thing, I have to do that. That's yeah.
What are you willing to really say yes to for yourself, right? This is sacred. This is a really powerful thing that you're doing, and I really think it's awesome.
Sacrament, it's sacred, yes.
Exactly.
Like in its ideal form, marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In its ideal. Like this is a sacred thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, and I have a whole list. I mean, obviously my vows have very specifically to deal with me.
Right.
But
Naturally.
well, obviously, it was the only thing that's gonna happen. So I can't just pick up the manual on weddings, like love, honor, and obey.
I promise to love and honor, but not obey.
Yeah, not obey. Not on that one. I'm not a subset of a person.
That's 2 musical references we got to sneak in today. That's pretty awesome. My musical theater geek is happy.
Yeah, so that's gonna be exciting. We're having Amy's gonna be my maid of honor.
I love it. It's
We're gonna
awesome.
be, I know, it's so awesome. We're gonna like plant colors. Every time I think of something more, and like I just like bend over laughing. I think it's hilarious. I mean,
it's fantastic. It is really fantastic. And also, much like any other wedding, don't get carried away in the pomp and circumstance, because it's the sacredness. And that's what a lot of people get carried away in the dream wedding.
No,
It's not like the wedding is one thing, it's a party. It's the sacrament of marriage that's actually.
It is. No, it is. And the reason I'm going further with it is because like when I first thought about it, I was like, oh, I was listening to Carolyn Reese, and she was saying an Anatomy of the Spirit, and she was saying, oh, you should be married to yourself. What about marrying yourself? And I was like, yeah, I should be married. I should make a contract. I'm like, you know what? I've signed a ton of contracts with myself, and I never go through it. So maybe I have to do it in front of. Maybe I have to have a wedding. I'll have a wedding, and then it just kind of like I'm even going to buy myself a ring, nice. And I you know what I mean, like it's okay. Sorry. It's what I mean, but the reason I'm doing it is not for pomp and circumstance. It's to show myself how seriously I'm taking it.
Yes, and that's important.
You know what I mean? Like this is like I'm gonna go. I know which ring it is. I picked it out.
Oh, I love it. You went ring shopping.
Ring shopping. I know which one it is. It's very special. It's like Tiffany's, and I'm like, to me, like it's not material stuff, but it's like, oh, you're getting me.
Yes.
Get you a ring from Tiffany's. Give you a ring from Tiffany's. Anything for you, babe.
Nothing but the best.
The best. Oh my god, awesome. And like and another thing is we're gonna be having a bachelorette party at some point.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, cool.
The 3 of us.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. It's 3:00. This has been awesome. I love it. Every single week we do a good job.
Yeah, I agree. I love our conversations. I love our conversations.
Me too. Me too. Okay. Thank you everybody for coming.
Bye.
And we'll come back next week. Bye.
Bye.